Hey guys, this is Red and Blue, your channel on YouTube for all things PSG in English. Please subscribe. We did it. We won the European Super Cup 2-2 against Tottenham after a crazy game, and then a win on penalties 4-3. And so we lift, our first piece of silverware for this new season, even if this trophy is largely tied to last season. It's the first time that PSG wins the European Super Cup. And so it's a brand new piece of silverware for the trophy cabinet. So let's talk about it. Let's debrief the game and go through the key elements of it. First things first, Super Cup miracle, because yes, we were 2-0 down at the 85th minute and pulled a crazy turnaround in the last moments of the game to end up tying it back to 2-2 and then winning it on penalty. So it's actually it's quite funny because I was thinking of what I said yesterday in the preview of the game, and I said PSG physical aren't going to be as good as Tottenham because we haven't had that much of a preseason. We've only been back in training for 6 days. But we should be able to balance it out with other aspects of the game, which I thought was going to be tactical and technical. And actually, in the end, what really balanced it out for us was the last element of the game, which is the mental. And, the fact that this team absolutely abhors defeat, wants the win out of every game, will do everything to get it. And yeah, I think in the end, this one is really it's a mental win. And, as good as we were, Tottenham also blundered it up and ended us the opportunity to come back in the game. And with a team like PSG, you don't need to give 10 opportunities for us to take it. And so, Kang In Lee, of all people, managed to find the 2-1 goal to put us back in the game. And then on the 94th minute, Gonzalo Ramos had an equalizer into the net, and it's 2-2. And I think, going back to the structures of the 4 elements of the game, the tactical, technical, physical, and mental, we can go through it, and I think it does a really good job of explaining what happened in this game. Physical, I think, no surprises. Tottenham put more impact into the game. They were much more sharp in terms of match fitness. They were a lot more ready for it, and I think it showed. And I think, for PSG player, you see a player like Hakimi, who's missing easy passes, literally within the first 10 minutes of the game. You see a player like Vara, who's, missing some controls, missing some passes, missing some dribbles. You see a player like Doué who's not making the right decisions. Those are the places where it shows. It's actually it's not technical flaws. It's just that the physical element of it isn't in place. And so players aren't playing at the best levels that we know they can play at. And yeah, on the other end, I think Tottenham, they played a back three of literally three giants and big impact players. Mohamed Kudus up front, same thing, highly physical, and played a duel against Nuno Mendes, which was fascinating to watch. Even in midfield as well, player like Betancourt, Sarr had an incredible game in pushing that physicality. So yeah, no surprises there, and I think that part of the game can only improve for us. But I think it's a great reminder of why the physical element was such a big element of the wins that we got last season. And why, even if we have a team of small technical player, nimble and fast and so on, it is important for them to be at their best physical level to perform. And yeah, a game like yesterday, you see that they weren't for part of it, and they get dominated in the impact. They get dominated in the little things going into the game. And progressively it makes a difference over 85 minutes. So the physicality was quite clear. In terms of tactics as well, I think this game is so interesting because to me, it kind of puts to bed a lot of the stress that a lot of people were voicing off after the Chelsea game. I heard a lot, obviously from Chelsea fans, but even from some PSG fans, that oh, look at this, like we found the trick, we found the way to like open up PSG and just reliably destroy them. I didn't really believe it at the time, but I think like after the Tottenham game, it's quite clear that it's not true, because Tottenham tried to do exactly what worked for Chelsea. They came out with a back five to really sit deep and didn't challenge for possession. They tried to put a lot of physicality in midfield. They tried to cut off Vitinha from the rest of the attacking side, and they tried to impose a 2-on-1 duo on Nuno Mendes with both Kudus and Pedro Porro, like trying to like double tag him. And ultimately, like that's exactly what Chelsea tried to do with Cole Palmer. That's what they tried to do with the midfield. Like it's exactly the game plan that Chelsea tried to do. And yes, the reality of it is that yes, Tottenham was 2-0 up, but they were 2-0 up based on 2 set pieces, and one of which was, I think, like relatively lucky. But yeah, they didn't score. They didn't score in open play. And even if there were moments where Nuno was slightly in difficulty, like we didn't really concede that much in terms of opportunities to score. And so what worked for Chelsea ultimately like didn't really work as well for Tottenham, and that's still with the PSG team who once again like only had 6 weeks of training, so he's only gonna get better on a lot of that game. So for me it's clear proof that it's not there's no magical wand waving that you can do to PSG to just like get a win out of them. The reality is that you not only have to work very hard for it, but you also have to have an incredibly talented team, and you need to have a PSG on a bad day. And all of those things need to be true. And I think even if we weren't in the best of day last night for the Super Cup, Tottenham is just quite candidly, I think, and with all respect to them, they're not at the same level as Chelsea. And I think, Thomas Frank is just not at the same level as Maresca as well. And I think, very few teams, even in the Champions League, are going to be at the level where they can take that game plan and actually make them work for them. Doesn't mean we're never going to lose a game. We're going to lose games. We might not even win the Champions League again. Who knows? But I like this really shows that there's no surefire universal way of just do this, do that, and you're gonna beat PSG. It's not real, and so that's comfort going into next season. So yeah, that was the tactic. I think on our end, like there were a couple of things which were interesting as well tactically, and for me, like I'm very much on the lookout as well of how Luis Enrique is going to keep improving and keep building on the tactical framework that he put in place last season. And I think seeing Desiree Doué drop into midfield. Seeing Dembele as well go very, very much down from the false 9 position. Looking at things like this, sometimes we were almost playing in a 4-2-3-1 with Doué as a number 10. I think it's really interesting, or like even more than this, like a 4-2-4, like a 4-1-4-1, like. Yeah, I'm losing my math. Like a 4-1-4-1. It's just there's evolutions everywhere. I think for these games they weren't particularly successful. I think Doué in particular. I liked his game, I think, a lot more than a lot of people that I've seen out there. I don't think he had that bad of a game. But for a player like him, if he's not like at peak fitness, it instantly shows. He makes differences, but he cannot take it all the way. And so it ends up being frustrating in nature. And I think he's further away from goal as well. So he has a longer runway than he needs to get to really create differences. And so I think this positioning at this current time of the season didn't really work for him. Doesn't mean it's not going to work tomorrow. And I think it's something that we'll probably see again. But yeah, I think this one was not so great. Also not so great, Kvara on the right. I don't know, man. Like every time he's there, like I don't really see it. I think he had a bad game. I think like Doué, it's not helped by the fact that we're only back from holiday for a few days. But yeah, ultimately is so much better on the left, and I think Barcola is able to develop about as much impact on the right as on the left. So I don't understand why we keep Barcola on the left instead of moving him to the right and leaving VAR on the left. I'm sure there's good reasons for it, but for me, honestly, I don't see it, and I think in this game, yeah, it kind of VAR on the right just didn't really work out for him. So yeah, that's it is something. So a couple of stuff like this, we learn and we'll take it forward. And yeah, the last one is Dembele. I thought Dembele spent a lot of time really dropping far back into midfield. And I think early in the second half, it's actually almost funny because you end up with Vitinha and Dembele sometimes playing almost on the same line. She's really, really far down. I've seen it a few times. I was super shocked by it, I guess. And yeah, I think it's interesting because Dembele has a way of creating differences and seeing the game in a special way and just creating mayhem. And I really think it's nice to see him in this almost number 10 kind of position. But at the same time, it meant there was really no presence up front in the area. And so, in the first half, when Barcola made a difference, which he did a few times, I thought Barcola had a good game. When he makes a difference, he dribbles past one guy, two guys, but there's no one to make the pass to. There's no one in that area who can take the shot. And so he ends up losing the ball or he ends up turning back. And we kind of miss opportunities this way. So I think, I do think there needs to be a better balance in terms of, being able to create space and create opportunities by having our more technical players drop deeper in field to have space for them to make the passes, but also players then taking their spot and making runs into the area to balance it out. Because right now, that wasn't the case. So yeah, tactically, I think that's the thing that stuck out for me. Technically speaking, like I said, there were a lot of unforced errors, but I think a lot of them were tied to players not being at top fitness. So I'll just put it down to that. It's nothing really stood out. There was one time when Dembele put the ball in between the legs of a Tottenham player, which had me giggle. So there was still a couple of actions of real class. A couple of dribbling moments from Barcola, from Doué, which were really good as well. But yeah, not that much. And so then we go to the last one, which is a mental one. And I think that's really what saved us today. And that's really where we get the win. And I think that's really where Tottenham get their loss as well. I don't know. I know the English are very fond of the Tottenham curse and the Arsenal curse of do not know how to win and so on. I don't know if there's truth to it. I'm not in the head of the players. And PSG, we've been tagged with having our own curses for the longest time until, someday you win. I don't know if they were tired and that's why they dropped back. I don't know if they were just that confident. I don't know if it's just I think the substitutions that we did made a huge difference in giving us more impact and giving us some new options on the field. I think Fabian Ruiz in particular, him getting on the pitch is a game changer. But yeah, the reality is that Tottenham started dropping lower and lower throughout the second half. They had a great beginning of the second half, but then dropped lower and lower. And we take control of the game, and Fabian Ruiz is on the pitch, and he gives more options. Our substitutes get on the pitch, and all of them really brought something fresh to the side. And yeah, we get a goal back at the 85th minute. Then we get the second one at the 94th, and all of a sudden the game has turned. And it's easy to play what ifs of Tottenham should just have kept us defend the Dyer up and pushed us back and so on. Yeah, I don't know, bit of tiredness, bit of overconfidence, bit of everything going into it, or substitutes putting pressure on them. yeah, it's the way the game goes. And I think for us, yeah, like the team just does not want to lose. They want to win the trophies that they're part of, and they really do everything to achieve that goal. And I think, yesterday it really showed. And it showed in the penalty shootout as well. You see like the attitude of Gonzalo Ramos, for example. He scores his penalty kick, but then turns to the Tottenham fan and riles them up. And like there's something within this team of really refusing to lose and really going for. So anyway, like that was kind of it for the four elements of the game. In terms of the goals, a couple of things which struck out. First, like it's a weird night for Lucas Chevalier, because I think on the first goal he makes like a crazy good save to begin with, and he's really unlucky because the goal fall back on the Tottenham defender who scores, and so yes, that one was really unlucky. And I think Marquinhos gets a header in on the first, and like it falls back on a Tottenham player who shoots. Chevalier makes a crazy save, pushes it on his crossbar, then it falls back on a Tottenham player. I think we're honestly really unlucky to concede there. It happens and it is what it is, but really, really unlucky. When on the second goal, actually, like I do think this one is a bit more worrisome, because this one you can see the Tottenham player like making the run, escaping the defender, and going to the far post to open himself up and make the header from there. And I think at this point, like, I don't know if we're defending the zone or if we're marking man to man. Usually it's a mix of both, but there's clearly like a lapse somewhere which they take advantage of. And so there's a defensive mistake there somewhere. And then obviously like Chevalier also makes a big mistakes in not pushing back that header. So this one is also partly for him. So that second goal I'm like very iffy at. And it's too bad for Chevalier, because I think like on balance he had a pretty good game, given like all of the pressure on him and all of the conversations and so on. And he did very well in the penalty shootout, which is pretty amazing, because it's, we had pointed it out as one of his flaws and the areas where he was less strong. So yeah, it's kind of too bad that he makes a mistake on the second goal, because I think that's what a lot of people will remember. Then on the PSG side, in terms of our goals, the first one from Kang-in Lee, like really liked, and I really like the little pass back from Vitinha. So Vitinha gets the ball and passes it to his left while looking towards his right, and his body is turned towards his right. So there's a little bit of like a technical like nugget of joy, a little golden nugget in there, which I really enjoyed. And then Kang-in Lee like sinks in the shot from the entrance every area. I think it's very, very, very good. And then the second goal, what I liked on this one is like, I love Dembele. I think he's going to be a great Ballon d'Or winner. He definitely deserves it in my mind. No question about it. And I love him as a false nine. I think what he brings to that role is just nothing short of amazing. And what he brings to the game in general is nothing short of amazing. But seeing him on the right, combining with Hakimi, oh my God, I almost had a tear to my eye of those golden moments where those two guys were running our left or right wing together, and just like running crazy over the top of any defender on this side of the pitch. I love Dembele in the middle, but man, Dembele Hakimi on the right, what a combo. And then he crosses, and I think you can say whatever you want about Gonzalo Ramos, but he's a pure striker, and my God, he's good at it. Like pure number 9 in the right time, in the right place at the right time, sinks it in with the header. It's just like he doesn't need like 4 opportunities to score. Like he's gonna miss sometimes, obviously, like every player does, but yeah, like he's really solid striker. Which is actually a nice transition, because I think like in terms of top players, like for me, like I've talked about quite a few throughout, and I think there's quite a few who had good games. in general, I think like the PSG team, at least the starting 11, underperformed. And so I think, for once, and I think it's kind of funny given all of the conversations that we had in the Club World Cup, our substitutes really showed what they can bring to the team. And it's really great to see, a player like Kang In Lee, who a lot of people criticize, myself included, because sometimes he's like pretty neutral and doesn't really bring that much. I thought what he produced was outstanding. I think like I really liked him. I think he was moving constantly on this right half space area, combining with Hakimi, combining with Dembele, combining with Vitinha, moving around, and then like ultimately like moves out to the left, and that's when he gets his opportunity, and that's when he scores. He takes his shot, he doesn't hesitate, he puts it exactly in the right place. So, kudos to him. He's doing really well. Gonzalo Ramos, same thing. Like, we've criticized him a lot. Like, spent the whole Club World Cup essentially saying that, oh my God, like if Dembele ever gets injured, we fucked and like we cannot do anything. Well, he cannot do everything. He's not the same player as Dembele, but again, no one is. But yeah, when we need number 9 and we need to like put some muscle in the area and fight in between the 2 central defenders or 3 central defenders and be at the reception of crosses. Yeah, he's a man I want on my team. He's just a great number 9, and he did well. And even further than this, I thought Mbai was very interesting, youngster for the academy. I think last season he didn't perform very well the few times when we saw him. I think this time he actually he did very well and he provoked a lot. He almost forces Tottenham to concede a penalty. I don't think there's one, but I think it's not that far. Provoking with the ball, trying to dribble his way, creating stuff and like stretching their defense by really staying far out on the wing, first on the right and then on the left, which is actually his more natural position. And I think, physically, I think he's developed a lot as well since last season. So it's going to be an interesting one to see, because I think in League One, he's probably got the level to be like start to be a real challenge for some of the Ligue 1 defenders. So yeah, Fabian Ruiz, same thing. Fabian Ruiz isn't a substitute, but as soon as he goes on the pitch, it clearly made a difference. So we do have some options. We can always add more, and the Mercato is still open, and there's definitely stuff that we can be looking at. But I think our substitutes are really not that bad, and I think they can help us out of tight spots if they get the chance. So that's it. It's gonna be exciting. And yeah, so anyways, that's kind of like what I had for this game. Super Champions of Europe, new trophy for our cabinet, and I think I love this team. I just like the mental element of it, like refusing defeat like this. It makes them very, very likable together and individually. And just little things like this, like the players who are cheering on Chevalier when he leaves the trophy. Marquinhos apparently actually gave his winner's medal to Zabarni as a welcome to the group kind of thing. Yeah, not everything is perfect in the club, and Donnarumma, it's sad, and so on. Like, say whatever you want, but yeah, they're very endearing, and one more piece of silverware. And my God, we're gonna be a hard team to beat this season. Let me tell you that, we're gonna be a hard team to beat. It might happen. We don't know. Winning is very, very hard in football, and winning twice is even harder. But yeah, we're going to be hard to beat, and we're going to be there. So anyway, please drop a like on this video. Let me know what you thought of the game in the comment. Did I miss anything? Did you thought different than me on anything? And please subscribe to the channel and hit the bell to get notified for future videos. And back from Udine to Paris, don't forget, ici c'est Paris!